Have you ever looked into the dark water and felt, just maybe, something was looking back at you? Not a fish, not a snake, something that feels older, stranger. Today's story is about one of the strangest and least known cryptids whispered about in rivers, swamps, and forgotten waterways. Today, we'll be talking about the hairy eel. The legend of the hairy eel doesn't come from just one place. Stories have surfaced across different regions, in small fishing towns, rural villages, and deep swamp communities. Places where the water runs murky and the secrets run deep. One of the earliest reports comes from a quiet riverside town. A fisherman, someone who had spent decades on the water, claimed he hooked something massive just before sunset. At first, it felt like a log, heavy and still, but then it moved violently. The line snapped, and as the water churned, he swore he saw it. A long, thick, eel like body rising just beneath the surface. But what scared him wasn't the size of the creature, it was a texture. It wasn't smooth. It was covered in long, dark tendrils like wet hair. Descriptions of the hairy eel are surprisingly consistent. Witnesses describe a creature anywhere from 6 to 20 feet long. Its body is serpentine like an eel or a massive snake. But instead of slick skin, it appears to be coated in hair or hair-like filaments. Some say the hairs move independently, drifting and withering in the water, even when the creature is still. Others claim the strands cling to objects like boats, fishing gear, and legs, as if reaching out. Its head is often described as blunt or slightly flattened, with small, pale eyes, sometimes glowing faintly in low light. And its mouth? Wide, too wide, filled with rows of tiny, needle-like teeth. Unlike many cryptids that are only glimpsed briefly, the hairy eel is often associated with specific behaviors. It lurks, it waits, and it watches from below. People who have encountered it described a strange feeling right before seeing anything, a heaviness and a silence. No ripples, no fish, no birds, then movement. Not fast at first, slow, deliberate, as if the creature is circling and studying. Some swimmers have reported something brushing against their legs, soft at first like seaweed, and then slowly tightening, wrapping before suddenly letting go. Others weren't so lucky. There are stories, quietly shared but rarely reported, of livestock disappearing near riverbeds and dogs refusing to go near the water. And in a few chilling accounts, people have vanished. The most disturbing feature of the hairy eel isn't its size, it's the hair. Witnesses say it doesn't behave like normal hair, it pulses and drifts through in unnatural patterns. Some claim it moves against the current, while others say it reacts to nearby motion, almost like it can sense things. One particularly unsettling account describes strands attaching themselves to a wooden dock, clinging and spreading, before slowly retracting back into the water, as if the creature was testing its surroundings, maybe hunting. So, what could the hairy eel be? Some skeptics believe it's a misidentified animal. Large eels, for example, can grow to impressive sizes, and in certain conditions, algae or fungal growth could give the illusion of hair. That explanation falls apart under closer inspection. Algae doesn't move independently. It doesn't reach, and it certainly doesn't wrap around limbs. Others suggest it could be an undiscovered species, perhaps a deep water organism that occasionally surfaces. Maybe a relic from the time when creatures were larger and a bit stranger and less understood. And then there are more unsettling theories that the hairy eel isn't just an animal, but something else, something that doesn't fully belong in our understood biology. One of the most detailed accounts comes from a group of teenagers exploring a swamp late at night. They had gone out with flashlights, joking, daring each other to get closer to the water. At first, everything seemed normal. There were crickets, frogs, and the usual sounds. And then, silence. One of them noticed the water had gone completely still. That's when the flashlight beam caught something just beneath the surface. At first, it looked like roots, thick tangled roots stretching through the water, but then they moved, slowly rising and uncoiling. The group froze as a massive, hair-covered body emerged just inches below the surface. The strands drifted outward, spreading like a living net. One of the teens felt something wrap around his ankle, and he screamed. The others grabbed him, pulling him back just as the water erupted. Whatever it was, it didn't follow, but it left a mark. Thin red lines wrapped around his leg, like something had tried to hold on and pull him under. If you map out the reported sightings of the hairy eel, a pattern starts to appear. Most encounters happen in murky, slow-moving water, in areas with heavy vegetation and low visibility, and almost always at dusk or at night. It avoids bright light, it prefers silence, and it seems to stay hidden until something enters its territory. What makes the hairy eel so terrifying isn't just how it looks, it's also where it lives. Water is already one of the least understood environments on Earth. We can't see clearly beneath the surface, and we don't know what's below us. And something like the hairy eel thrives in that uncertainty. You don't hear it coming, you don't see it approach, and by the time you realize something's there, it might already be wrapping around your legs. Even in recent years, reports haven't stopped. Kayakers have described something trailing behind them for miles. Fishermen have pulled up fishing lines covered in strange, hair-like strands. Some even claim their sonar picked up massive moving shapes that suddenly vanished. No splashes and no trace, just gone. So, is the hairy eel real? A misidentified animal? An undiscovered species? Or maybe something else entirely? Whatever the truth is, the stories continue. And they all share one chilling detail. The water always looks calm right before it appears. So next time you're near a river or standing at the edge of a dark lake and the surface is perfectly still, ask yourself, am I really alone? Or is there something waiting just beneath?